regard to the qualified mortgage to protect the consumer, including pricing that it can go to a maximum of, as well as 43% debt to income, with a caveat there, by the way, and then full documentation. And I'll just share with you very quickly, and I've spoken to realtors across the state about this. In my experience working with realtors since 1983, quite often I called up a realtor and said, I need your help in getting this documentation. 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, everything was fine, we worked well together. Every once in a while I had pushback. I said, you know what, Al? That's stupid. You don't need that. Why are you asking for that? I need you to commit to the Nike approach going forward as a realtor when you're working with lenders and title companies. Yeah, there you go. What's Nike's slogan? Just do it. And the reason I say that is because if you look at the second bullet point up from the bottom, between Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and private investors, mortgage loan buybacks are in excess of $80 billion since 2007. And buybacks are where lenders make a loan, the investors that purchase that loan look at it, and for whatever reason, they say, you know what, we don't like that loan, you're going to have to buy it back. $80 billion buyback. The scary thing is, most recently, 95% of those loans are paid as agreed. They're missing documentation, or there's a question on the appraisal, or other things, but the loans are not delinquent. So that's why your lender going forward, and it has been for a while, asking you as a realtor to help with documentation. Again, just do it. With the 43% debt to income maximum, I want to highlight the fact that even though the CFPB came out with that, there is a 7-year window that while Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae are in conservatorship, if a lender out there has a loan that goes through their decision engines, either loan prospector or desktop underwriter, and it's over 43%, that's considered a qualified mortgage. Okay? Now, there's a possibility that Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae will no longer be under conservatorship before 7 years. If that happens, then that exemption goes away. With these loans, there's no balloons. You can't have interest only or greater than 30 years. And I think for the most part, I haven't heard of anybody offering a 40-year mortgage, and interest only is pretty much gone. There are maximum lender fees of 3%. Mortgage amounts of $100,000 or more. Then it's tiered underneath that. The temporary provision I talked about earlier for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, as well as FHA, VA, and rural housing there. The borrower does qualify if it's an adjustable rate mortgage at the highest rate possible in 5 years. So there may be a financial advantage for payments, but there is no advantage to qualifying for the 1-year adjustable. Exempt from this are housing finance agencies, including Indiana Housing, as well as not-for-profit creditors focused in on low-to-moderate buyers, including Habitat for Humanity. How many have ever volunteered to help build a house for Habitat? Thank you very much. Great association. I'm very proud to be a member of the state board there with them. Also exempt are home equity loans, bridge financing less than 12 months, vacant land, and multifamily units over 4. FHA recently came out with their qualified mortgage that was effective on the same day. It includes the safe harbor and rebuttable presumption categories, which are just legal terms. In fact, I may even know more about legal terms in mortgage lending than I ever knew in 25 years of mortgage lending, doing what I do today. Basically, what a safe harbor provides is the lender's defense against the borrower saying, Don, you shouldn't have granted me that loan, so I'm going to sue you. And if I have done what I'm supposed to do if you've done what you're supposed to do as a lender and have a safe harbor, it's going to be tougher for me to win a lawsuit. And that's what lenders are focusing on and trying to make sure that under the qualified mortgage program, they meet the guidelines and they're not put in a position in case the borrower does go delinquent or being successfully sued. VA, just this last month, came out with a circular, or basically an information release that they're expecting to publish in the near future, their guidelines for qualified mortgage. Rural housing, there's no information that I've heard that they're going to be doing anything with regard to qualified mortgage. The estimated legal cost, and this is where it becomes important for lenders, is if they're going to be sued by a borrower for making a loan that they shouldn't have made, at least in the borrower value, the cost is about $70,000 per loan. So if they're going to do a loan outside the QM guidelines, it can be be very costly if they get sued. So a lot of lenders have pulled back over the last 6 months or so in the products and services that they offer so that your buyers have less opportunity in terms of what programs are there. And in some ways, that's a good thing. There's a lot of programs that were developed over the years, and people got into it. And again, if they had just a pulse, they got a loan. And so this is the reaction to that and what happened with the meltdown there. But in a credit union member survey last year, approximately 44% of the credit unions across the country said that they were going to pull back and not do anything other than qualified mortgage loans. The MBA All Regs Credit Availability Index basically is a national survey that, to my comment a moment ago, reflects products that are offered by lenders nationwide. And since August, most of the months that they come back with their statistical information, credit is becoming tight. However, interestingly enough, in December, it loosened up a bit. High-price mortgage loan appraisals, just real quick about that. This won't affect too many customers out there, but with this, it's a regulation that came out through other regulators, the FDIC, the Federal Reserve, et cetera, where this becomes impactful is if you have investors you're working with, a realtor that flips properties quickly, make a quick profit on it, and if their buyers are in a high-price mortgage loan situation, there's going to be a second appraisal required, paid for by the lender, that may slow down the process. Qualified residential mortgage is another regulation that has been proposed. It's not finalized yet. This does not come from the CFPB. It came from multiple other regulators there. And it's unlike the qualified mortgage, which is the ability to repay. This is risk retention. There's a financial cost to lenders if they do a non-qualified residential mortgage. Exempt from this are Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac loans, again, FHA, VA, et cetera. It does, in the proposed regulation, align with qualified mortgage, which our industry is very happy with. And the big thing here is when they came out with this last year, they also put out for comment a 30% down payment requirement. That has not been decided upon yet by the regulators, but the National Association of Realtors and Mortgage Bankers Association, American Bankers Association, everybody's saying you can't do that. If you put a 30% down requirement, you're going to kill a lot of the market. So we don't expect that to go through, but that has been proposed. Very briefly on HUD, FHA, the fact of the matter is they're doing much better than they were last year and the year before. Their negative net economic development or benefit that they've had, or value I should say, has gone down from a negative $13 billion to $1.3 billion. They are now having the lowest delinquency rates in their production since 2006. In part because they've raised their premiums, in terms of their profitability, they've raised their premiums substantially. Those of you in the audience that work with FHA buyers and borrowers know now that FHA, if you get a high LTV FHA loan, your mortgage insurance premium is going to be on there forever. Whereas if it's a private MI, it can still come off after a few years. One of the things that HUD recently came out with is a ruling on disparate impact, that it's a challenge for lenders, and that's where they have a loan product that is designed in such a way that it has a negative impact on one group versus another. And HUD is causing some consternation in the lending industry with that